I'm Jonathan Pilkington. This video started as an audio podcast, but I'm converting a little more to video because travel is such a visual experience, and it helps to have pretty pictures. So I'm joined by Aiden from Namu Travel and Costa Rican Vacations.
Right.
Um, so you might not know this, but the original name of the podcast was just Beautiful Experiences. So the whole kind of philosophy is that travel, food, and music are the things I'm passionate about, and I think they're
Mhm.
things that bring people together and make the world a better place.
Yeah,
So
no, I think you're right, and it definitely is more visual when you think of that.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
um, so why don't you tell us a little about? I'd like to know about you a little and how you got to where you are.
yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, sometimes when I start these things, my accent can throw people off a little bit
Right.
because I'm actually from Belfast in the north of Ireland originally.
Yeah.
Um, I've been living here in Costa Rica, in San Jose for almost 10 years, 10 years and coming this May. So it's probably actually the longest I've stayed in any country since I became an adult. And I mean, you'll see in a few of these photos and stuff here in a little bit, exactly why, it's such a beautiful country. Obviously, something brought me here, which was my wife is Costa Rican. So after a few years living in Belfast, she had just about enough of those gray, dark days and the winters. So
Sure.
when it was put to me that we could move to the tropics, I made the move pretty quickly.
Okay. I can't wait to see it for myself, and hopefully I'll not be encouraged to move there.
No, you don't need too much encouragement.
Right, right, I'm sure. Um, I should also say that one thing that the reason I want to, feature Namu and your and Costa Rican vacations is because the one time I have dealt with Rob, the co-owner, right, was
One of the co-owners, correct?
yeah, he I sent him a request to help me with a client, and it was just very personal. He sent a personalized YouTube video to me as a response, so I
Oh
got
yeah.
I got to see him speak to me instead of just a general typed out email. It was I really appreciated that.
hmm
So that's the type of people I want to do
Yeah, no,
business
it's kind of a cool process actually, isn't it? Like you mentioned before, travel is a kind of a personal experience and a visual experience. So yeah, Rob does like to reply to emails with those video email if you like. I don't tend to do it as often because it takes me about 30 takes. Rob's pretty solid at getting it down to the one, so
with. Right.
he does it a little more often than I do.
Yeah, I understand that. Okay, so can you explain a little about the companies?
Yeah,
Namu.
sure. So I mean, Nambi Travel is our parent company. Um, And I tend to say that I work for Namu more than I work for Costa Rica Vacations because we offer as a company 6 destinations and I offer all 6 of those. So putting myself as Costa Rica Vacations is probably too much of a small box. We offer trips to Costa Rica, the neighboring countries, which are Nicaragua and Panama. And most recently, after the last couple of years, we've entered into Belize, Guatemala, and Colombia, which is our first and probably only South American destination. It seemed like it made sense since Rob goes there quite a lot actually, and also it's the neighboring country to Panama. So I think that's as far south as we'll go. But Namu started as Costa Rica Vacations about 20, 21 years ago, and it was actually just a chance meeting of two American guys who needed a roommate in Costa Rica, and got together and traveled around the country a little bit, and thought, hey, we could really help here plan trips down to Costa Rica, and that was the start of the kind of the dot-com boom and that kind of thing. So like taking payments was like all done by fax and all that kind of stuff. So obviously things have gone on quite a bit since then. But that's how we started. And we started, like I said, with a couple of people, and now we have, I think at the moment, about 75 people working for us here, and hopefully about 25 people coming back to us because travel to Costa Rica is really starting to pick back up again after the last 10 or so strange months.
Great. Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Um,
hmm
so, oh, have you been working for them for 10 years? Or
Actually, almost. I mean, I got here in May of 2011 and started working here in August of 2011. I
okay,
was in account management in Belfast and needed a job where I didn't need to speak too much Spanish, at least in the beginning. And started. I already had the skill set, I think, to work in tourism, except the fact that I didn't know much about Costa Rica. So when they hired me, I spent the next 6 months traveling around the country, staying at all our hotels and taking part in tours, and we still do that. Like almost once a month um, per person. Like I said, we have a lot of people here, and we're constantly traveling the country, constantly checking what's the best in properties, what's the best in tours, and not just luxury properties, but even moderate properties. So that if someone has maybe a 3.5 star budget, what's the absolute best hotel that they can get for this budget? And so
okay,
that's what we do. Instead of offering hundreds and hundreds of hotels in Costa Rica, we have a close knit relationship with 80 or 90 properties throughout the whole country. And we have a similar way of working in all of our countries. So,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, 10 years I've been doing this almost. And yeah, it's just, I mean, planning vacations, as you know, for people is pretty amazing.
right, okay. So I'm going to make you the host so you can share your
Mhm.
screen. And oops,
I think I can share the screen here now.
then you can take us on a journey.
You can see that?
Yes,
This?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, cool. Yeah. My earphones are cutting in and out for some reason. So, um, I just want to talk about a couple of the products and kind of hidden gems that we have. I think that people know quite a bit about Costa Rica, especially in North America. So I won't get into too much detail about every single area, and we can always do that another time if you like as well. But I
Sure.
just want to talk about some of the kind of top products and such that we offer. Um, when I talk about Costa Rica, well, first of all, there's a little map here, just to kind of give you an idea. I'm not sure if you can see my cursor, but this is Nicaragua bordering us in the north and Panama in the south. So some people think Costa Rica is an island, but we are this skinny portion of Central America. We have a couple of different international airports here. Liberia Airport here in the north, and Juan Santa Maria or San Jose Airport in the center of the country. Liberia Airport tends to service mostly people who are looking for just a beach getaway, if they want to maybe head to the Four Seasons or the West End and these kind of larger resorts. They tend to be in that northwest area of the country. And San Jose obviously can get you there, but it's much quicker. It's only an hour away from Liberia to some of those resorts and about 4 hours from San Jose. So people who come to San Jose tend to be doing more of a tour of the country.
Okay.
Uh, I think that one of the terms that kind of screams out at people when they talk about Costa Rica is ecotourism. I think we're a pioneer here of ecotourism. It's something you hear all over the world now, but one of the first countries that really embraced that was Costa Rica. And here we see a beautiful photo of the Arenal volcano from the lake of Arenal. So just to point out like a couple of cool properties that have kind of come our way over the last couple of years. This is a property called Casaya Papagayo. Papagayo is in that northwest region where the Four Seasons is and where the Andas Hotel is. And El Mambo, which I believe is taking up on your series. They're all around this area. And this is a kind of one of those very on trend glamping experiences. So you might not be able to tell from the inside of this room, but it is a tent.
Oh, okay.
There's about seven. There's about seven tents here. I think just finishing their eighth tent, and they don't have a swimming pool because, as you can see here, the Papagayo Bay is basically a large swimming pool.
Mm,
Costa Rica may be known as a surfing destination, but Papagayo is a cove of protected water, so it's completely calm. So swimming in Papagayo Bay is absolutely amazing.
wow.
And of course, we can go back and ask any questions about some of these properties as well if you like. Uh, Another property that I like to pair with Cassia, because a lot of people kind of tend to stay at a couple of different locations so they can experience the rainforest as well as the beaches,
Hmm.
is the Origins Lodge, a brand new lodge in the north of Costa Rica. So around here, you've got amazing wildlife, really great hiking. It's a high-end resort that goes well with that. They have Michelin star chefs on site as well, where you can actually do cooking classes with them. But yeah, this is definitely geared towards more of the wildlife before you head over to hang out on the beach.
Mm,
Cool property, really cool property,
it looks amazing.
and great for families as well. They do, yeah, they have villa setups here as well. So if you do have a family of four, you might be able to take one of those villas instead.
Great.
Yeah, and so the Arenal volcano is one of my favorite areas. I never thought that I would be affected by a volcano before, but being in the Arenal volcano area, you really feel this cone-shaped, perfect volcano impose on you wherever you go. It's always the backdrop of whether you're zip lining or whitewater rafting, walking and hanging bridges in the rainforest canopy. You always have this volcano behind you, and even when it's covered with clouds, you still feel it. It's a pretty amazing thing. And this is a brand new property offering. Started on Christmas 2019. Obviously, I've had a bit of a quiet year, but it's picking up quite a bit here as well. And the Arenal Nayara Hotel has been around for quite some time, about 15 years or so. But they've opened up this new tented camp offering again, kind of on trend at the moment. But every single tent has its own uh, mineral spring-fed plunge pool. So not only you're getting this amazing tent, but you also have your own natural volcanic spring water heated by the volcano in every single room. So it's a pretty incredible experience there.
That's amazing. So they have Nayar has three hotels, right?
They do. They have three resorts. The Arenal Nayara Gardens, which is the original resort, which is still gorgeous. Every room has its own uh, jacuzzi on their balcony, overlooking not just the volcano, but their beautiful tropical gardens as well. Um, about maybe 8 years ago, they opened Nayara Springs, which is their adult only offering. It's right next to Nayara Hotel, the Arenal Nayara Gardens Hotel. So, they have more dining options and stuff as well. They can head down to the older part of the resort to dine as well. But it is their adult only kind of honeymoon geared property. And like I said, about a year and a half ago or so, they opened up this new family offering as well, which, be honest, is priced around the same as Niagara Springs. And we do have a lot of couples who want to stay in the tented camp instead, because the rooms are just so cool.
Right.
And you can see here, obviously it's got a king bed here, but on either side of the bed, it does have these day beds. So this is where the kids would sleep. So you can have up to 4 people, and they also have 16 connecting tents as well. So two tents with a walkway between the tents. So for larger families, they do have that option as well.
Nice. Okay.
Beautiful property, and the Arenal volcano area is it's kind of like the epicenter of adventure. So the best zip lining, of course, zip lining is everywhere in Costa Rica, but the best zip lining, the best rafting, waterfall rappelling. There's also really crazy tour called Gravity Falls, which I haven't had the guts to do myself, which is basically jumping from waterfalls into the pools below. So no rappelling, just jumping, almost base jumping. That's not my personal cup of tea, but
No.
it's it is extreme adventure, and it gets 5 out of 5 rating every single time.
Oh,
So if you're into that, you're not going to be disappointed.
okay.
Uh, but there is a beautiful lake right next to the Arenal volcano as well. So kayaking and stand-up paddleboarding, things that are a little more chilled are available as well. And cultural experience uh, like cultural kind of local farming and some food tours and stuff like that as well. So this tends to be the area where people really fill their time with those types of activities. Maybe relax a little bit in the evening in your hot springs. I mean, there's countless amazing properties all around Arenal. Not all of them are quite as high end as this. There's amazing, uh, more moderate properties as well, and even some of the moderate properties have their own hot springs on site too.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's a cool area.
Yeah.
If we travel furthest south into Costa Rica, we get to this little peninsula called the Osa Peninsula, which is where the Corcovado National Park is. And the Corcovado National Park, this tiny little sliver of the world, has 5% of the world's biodiversity. So some of the best wildlife you're ever going to see, some of the most virgin rainforest you're going to see, and right across the Gulf of um, Golfito is the Playa Cativo boutique hotel, which is one of my new favorites in the area. You'll see here that it's one of very few in the rainforest that has beachfront access as well. So it's I wouldn't say there's any real extreme adventure here, but it's really for the pioneer traveler who wants the best possible wildlife.
Yeah.
So usually you stay maybe one night in San Jose and fly down here, or if you're doing a tour of the country, we can finish off here. It's an amazing way to finish your trip, and most of the properties here will include some of the tours. They'll certainly include all the meals because once you're at the property, you're not really going to be having a chance to go to different restaurants. Usually they're accessible by boat or puddle jumper flight or something like that. So once you're there, you're experiencing the lodge and the rainforest.
Nice.
Pretty amazing spot. And I wanted to put this here, full disclosure, this is our own villa. This belongs to Namu Travel.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you've probably heard about it before. It's a beautiful 8-bedroom villa that's been around since 2008. But we did convert it most recently into an 8-bedroom boutique adult-only hotel. But we really see a trend going forward that villa rentals obviously are super popular right now and probably is better served as a fully staffed villa. So you can come to this villa and have staff and meals included and everything. And it's only 35 minutes away from Liberia Airport. So, long weekends and things like that. I wanted to put this here because not just this villa, but we have tons of amazing villa options in Costa Rica now. And I do see, I'm sure you see as well, Jonathan, a big trend kind of heading the way of having your own space and of course, getting out to see the country a little bit, but having that safety of being just with you and your family.
Yeah, definitely. Huge trend.
Yeah, huge trend, and I mean, we always had these amazing villas all over Costa Rica, but we're seeing more and more pop up who do want to be there for clients, and I think that over the next year or so, we can look at Villa Bonanza. There's also Las Catalinas, which is another amazing villa property, and I know you had the Enjoy Group on recently. They have beautiful villas at the Punta Islita property, which is only a couple of hours from Liberia. So
yeah.
that's a resort with regular rooms, but they've also got really impressive private villas as well. And we actually have quite a lot of those types of properties here that will be a hotel, but also have villa options.
Fantastic. Okay.
Mhm.
Great.
So that's just a little bit of what I want to show you about Costa Rica. Maybe if you had any questions about anything to do with the country, or if you want to go into any of the other countries that we offer as well, I'd be more than happy to do that. But just wanted to make sure that just showed you a little bit about what's new in Costa Rica
Yeah.
since many people have maybe been and maybe want to come back. What's new down here, and that's what we've got going on.
Okay, great. So where is Villa Buena Onda?
Villa Buena Onda is just up above Playa del Coco, which is like I said, only about 35 minutes away from Liberia. It's really around that Gulf of Papagayo area where you find some of the other resorts like Four Seasons, El Mangrove, Andaz, and a few others.
Okay.
So it's right there in the heart of Guanacaste, which is that northwestern province of Costa Rica. So even from here, you've got still amazing zip lining, really cool rafting. Obviously, boat trips are super popular in the area. One of our signature tours actually is the Hidden Beaches private boat trip, where you'll go to these little beaches in Costa Rica that are only accessible by boat. We'll do a barbecue for you and some stand-up paddleboarding, a bit of snorkeling, and maybe some fishing if you want to as well. So this area, really, if you want to come for a week and stay in one place, you could do that pretty easily from Guanacaste. But the Arenal volcano area is only 3 hours away, so you might want to mix Guanacaste with the Arenal volcano area, just so you have a bit more rainforest experience. Guanacaste is very unique that it has the tropical dry forest, so it's a different experience,
Hmm.
but still has some amazing tours and experiences available.
Okay, yeah. I can't wait to see it for myself. As you know, I'll be there in a little
Yeah,
over a month.
yeah, no time at all. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, did you say Carnival?
no, I said it's not. It's like no time at all that you'll
Oh,
be
right.
here.
Yeah, yeah. It'll fly by. I hope my passport comes in time.
Oh, wow, yeah, me too.
Getting renewed. Um, but I have a few really practical questions. So, of course, there you, Costa Rica has its own COVID protocols,
Hmm.
um, and I find it a little confusing.
Right, yeah,
Like the insurance that you have to have in order to visit. Can you explain
right. So we tried to simplify it, I think, but we made it a little bit more confusing.
that?
That so we were one of the first countries here to open back up again, and very quickly we realized that um, there was no real danger of guests coming in with COVID. So what we wanted to do was take away the test aspect of it. So you don't need to have a negative COVID test to travel to Costa Rica. I know that you need to travel back to the US at the moment, and we'll touch on that. But the insurance that you're referring to is actually it's different than a travel insurance. It's a medical insurance.
Mm.
So it's about $10 to $12 per day per person.
Oh,
And what it really covers you for is any expenses if anything did happen to you while you were here, so that we can help provide the care. We have a nationalized health service here, so so it needs to be paid for basically. And if somebody is ill or somebody falls ill or test positive, we can help them while they're here. It also comes with accommodation insurance as well. So if you need to stay here in quarantine, you're covered for that. So yeah, it's a little bit different than travel insurance. Some travel insurance providers in the US are covering that $2,000 accommodation element. So if you check with your travel insurance provider, if they can give you a letter saying so, that will be enough for the immigration department when you arrive.
okay, great.
Um, yeah, and as you guys know, like I said, you need to be tested to travel back to the US. We already have a very good kind of laboratory and health service in the country. So getting that test isn't a problem. We can help with that, and helping you with that in turn, helping the client with that. So quite a lot of resorts are offering it from the hotel.
Hmm.
When they don't, we can get you to a clinic very, very easily, and have test results within about 48 hours or so. So it's not going to be too much of a challenge for people to get back to the US or to get tested at least from Costa Rica back into the US, and we're coming up with similar plans for all of our countries that we offer.
Excellent. Okay, good. Um, and then car rental and insurance for that.
Mhm.
Um, I understand that Costa Rica has mandatory insurance.
We do, yeah. So when you and your clients book with us, and we have a car rental agreement on their itinerary, all mandatory insurance is covered.
Okay.
So what I would say is to look out for that for clients if they want to book with their points or something like that for car rental, because there is mandatory insurance is almost never included on that. So when you get here, you may have a bill for $400 or $500,
Hmm.
when you arrive, and you don't want that. So if the car rental is on our itinerary, everything's included. There is obviously more insurance if you wanted to purchase that, but the mandatory insurance is always included here.
Okay, great. So $2 a day is not
If you
what you
see
should
if you see
actually.
$2 a day, which you might see sometimes, that's not going to have you covered.
Right.
Usually um, with car rental deals and stuff, I normally say for Costa Rica, if it seems too good to be true, it's because it is.
Hmm.
If you feel like, wow, I'm getting a steal on this, you're going to be charged when you get to the country.
Sure.
Um, so yeah, and it's actually quite a lot of the time with the US companies, because they're basically just giving you a flat rate, and when you get here, the Costa Ricans impose the um, the insurance fee. When you're booking with a Central American or a Costa Rican company, like we use Adobe quite a lot of the time, um, they always have that included because that's what they do. It's it's what they offer to locals. It's what they offer to everybody.
Right. Okay, that's very helpful.
Mhm.
Um, So I think I have about two more questions. So you mentioned ecotourism. Is that the same thing as sustainable travel? Or I mean, I guess they're
Um,
similar, related.
they're no, I mean, I think that they've kind of merged into each other, you
Yeah.
know. So and Costa Rica definitely embraced that because uh, we do advocate for sustainable travel here a lot. You know, actually, in Costa Rica in general, as a country, is due to be carbon neutral within the next couple of years. You know, so it's important to Costa Rica. Every hotel, if they get a star rating, they also get what's called a LEED rating as well.
Hmm.
Every company does really, but hotels you'll see 1 to 5 leaves. If you'll never see a one leave rating because it's so important to every owner here. So yeah, 100% sustainability in hotels is what everybody's striving for, and you're going
Right.
to usually see at least a 4 leaf rating if you like. Um, so yeah, I would say that um, the difference is that the ecotourism goes into every aspect of it. So whether that's transfers and what those companies are doing, or tour companies, and then um, sustainable tourism is probably centered a little bit more towards hotels.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's of interest to a lot of people.
Yeah, I think so, especially now, and actually a big chunk of our clientele is because of that, you know, and I think the rest of the region is following suit. I know it's very important for the Belizean Tourism Board and also starting to become also very popular or very important in Panama as well.
Oh,
And
good.
Nicaragua almost is like that by default, and
Hmm.
that's mostly because of it's a lesser traveled area, you
Right.
know, so they tend to get quite a lot of clients who have been to Costa Rica already and want to venture into something a bit bit less traveled, and Nicaragua falls within that. Nicaragua is almost like Costa Rica 20 years ago, you know.
Oh,
So I think that that's why it's kind of eco-centric by default.
yeah. Okay. Um, and then also I wanted to talk a little about wellness travel. So
Mhm.
taking a yoga retreat to Costa Rica is
Yeah,
a big thing, right?
yeah, totally. And I think that the country is well set up for it. Obviously, we have some areas that are a little more built up and touristy, if you like. You know, somewhere like Arenal, for instance, is so beautiful, but it also is it sees quite a lot more travelers. That's why there are more hotels, more tour offerings. So if you wanted more of a intimate wellness retreat, there's better areas for that. I'm talking about places like Nosara, Santa Teresa on the Nicoya Peninsula on the Pacific are less traveled. There's less built up. Most of the properties are quite a bit smaller and are very much surfing and yoga centric, as well as wellness centric with their food. Like the Nicoya Peninsula is actually one of the world's blue zones. You
Right.
know, so it gets some tourism because of that as well as people want to learn a bit more about that holistic kind of style of life. And I know that's important to you and your company as well. And it's more than just the beach here, though. Like there's in the rainforest, we see a lot of that as well. There's a great property to check out called The Retreat in the mountains near San Jose,
Okay.
which is basically all wellness related. You know, so I know that the actress Robin Wright rented that whole hotel for herself a couple of years ago,
Hmm.
just to come and practice yoga for a week and you know get back in touch with herself and everything as well. So yeah, the country is primed for that, and I would say that Nicaragua as well is very very good for that too.
Oh, good to know. Okay. Can't wait.
Hmm.
Um, so I guess one last question, since this is about beautiful experiences, if you hear that and thinking of Costa Rica or any of the countries, what comes to mind?
Um, I touched on one of my favorite experiences, which was the Hidden Beaches experience in Papagayo.
Hmm.
What I would say is if you've got an adventurer's heart and you want to see the best wildlife possible, please explore the Osa Peninsula. The Osa Peninsula, like I said, it's got 5% of the world's biodiversity is completely untouched. 25% of this country is either national park or private reserves. You know, so you're going to see amazing wildlife everywhere you go. But the Osa Peninsula, if you have the heart for it and the time, it's the most magical experience in the entire country.
Wow. Okay. You know, I would. It sounds like you could almost say if you want to go to the Galapagos but can't go yet, go
Perfect.
there.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, it's that kind of life-changing experience. The only difference is, like you said, it's easier to get to, and I'm not sure, but I would argue that it's probably a slightly more affordable as well.
Sure, I would think so.
Mhm.
Okay. Do you have anything else to share? I think.
No, I just that we're open again back down here. We had a good festive season. People are coming back. If you feel good about traveling, Costa Rica is a perfect place for you. I would throw Belize, Panama, and Colombia in there as well. But Costa Rica, obviously, we've been open since March or since August, so we've gotten used to quite a lot of this already. And we're pretty close to you guys up there as well. So come down,
Right.
check us out, and Jonathan and I will put together an amazing experience for you.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, thank you. I'm sure I'll have some more questions, but I'll email you about those. And
You know I'm always here.
I appreciate it.
Good stuff. Talk with you
Okay.
soon.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye bye.